Mehdiana Sahib, which is very popular for its artwork in particular. Seen as any sort of photography is banned within the Darbar Sahib. We will have a stroll through the main part of the gallery, where there's many statues here. First one of Baba Deep Singh Ji, where they're drawing the line and challenging the Singhs before going into battle. Only those who wanted to put their lives on the line and die for their faith were all prepared to cross the line and battle for the freedom of Darbar Sahib, Amritsar, once more. The Gurdwara has some beautiful artwork too. Next up here we have the almost unfinished sculpture of Bhai Jata Ji, bringing the head back from Delhi of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, the 9th Guru. Further ahead, depicting here, is the martyrdom of father and son by Subeg Singh, by Sabag Singh Ji. Charkadiyan te chade, they were crushed with these spiked wheels, which they happily accepted rather than accepting Islam and giving in to the tyrants that existed at that time in Punjab. Bhai Taru Singh Ji, the great martyr, whose scalp was removed because the tyrants could not cut his case, his unshorn hair, and so they had to remove his scalp because his hair just could not be cut. Recorded in history, where they remained living for almost 3 weeks after, until Zakaria Khan, the tyrant, did not die. Here we have Bhai Mehtab Singh from Mirakot, who accompanied the great Bhai Sukha Singh, Mardi Kamboke. You can see here statues depicting them bringing the head back of the evil Masarangar, who had invaded Darbar Sahib and was committing much atrocities and much disrespect within the vicinity of Darbar Sahib. We have a huge sculpture here where we can see many Singhs, many Sikhs at that time being stripped and being chained and made to sacrifice themselves. We can see this model of Baba Banda Singh Bahadur at the time of his martyrdom, where even his 7-year-old son Ajay Singh was barbarically murdered. His heart was removed from his chest and stuffed into the mouth of his father, Baba Banda Singh Bahadur the Great. You can see how they attempted to punish Baba Banda Singh Bahadur before they left this life. But this great warrior stood steadfast and resisted all of those tortures instead of giving in to the tyrants, the Mughals that were there at the time, and their associates, the Singhs, and how they are also being tortured and punished before death. Here, depicting how they were beheaded and tortured severely. We can see there the pile of bodies of the Sikhs. Also here, there is a incident in history where the mother is trying to plead that my son is not a Sikh, and her son says, "This is not my mother. I am a Sikh and I will die a Sikh." And these sculptures have been detailed so finely, with so much detail, and they tell 1,000 different stories. Here they have models of great generals of the Khalsa Raj. Here we have one of Hari Singh Nalwa, the Great, who once fought a tiger, a lion, with his bare hands and split the lion's jaw, snapped it, and so he earned the name of Nalwa from Maharaja, from the emperor of the Khalsa Raj at that time, who was Maharaja Ranjit Singh, who has been carved here so beautifully, alongside of the great generals. You have by Sham Singh Atari, you have Akali Phula Singh Ji, the Jathedar of Sri Akal Bunga, now known as Akal Takht Sahib. You have Sardar Baghel Singh at the end there, who took over Delhi. We will have a look at these in a bit more detail as we go back. Again, more detailed depiction here of the jail of Mir Manu, another tyrant of Punjab, and how he imprisoned Sikh women and forced them into labor, where they were made to turn these grinders and grind flour, whilst their helpless children stood there and watched. These women were forced into Islam, but these Singhaniya, these Sikh women were so strong, they refused to give in to the tyrants, and they died as Sikhs, even though their children barbarically were murdered right before their eyes, thrown up in the air and pierced through spears. Babies being ripped apart right before their eyes, being cut into pieces and put as garlands around their neck. But these great steadfast Singhaniya, these great Sikh women of the Sikh nation, did not give in, and they died as Sikh, and even their children died as Sikh. And we can also see here one of the great artists doing some fine detail work on the sculptures. Such was the power and the steadfastness of the Khalsa. And we can see where this power and this inspiration came from. Right here, the depiction of the great Mata Gujar Kaur Ji, the mother of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, and their grandsons, Baba Fateh Singh Ji, Baba Jorwar Singh Ji, in the Thanda Burj, who were made to spend cold nights in the winter, but still never gave in to these evil tyrants. They went into the court of Wazir Khan, we can see in this sculpture here, and they refused to accept Islam and submit to these tyrants. These great warriors, these great sons of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, they showed who they were, who they represented, what they were taught and what they're made of. And even they were made to stood in between the foundations of a brick wall. The wall was erected before they were beheaded as well. You can see how the Qazis, the Islamic judges, and the governors are trying to persuade them. But these fearless warriors know no better than to defeat tyrants, never give in to these tyrants. Here we have the great Motira Mehra, and how he offered his service with milk to Mata Gujar Kaur Ji. In this specific scene, he has come to tell the news to Mata Gujar Kaur Ji that her grandsons have passed away, have become great martyrs great sculpture here again of Kindrane the Tab, this pool of water upon whose banks a great battle was fought. Charlie Mukte, these 40 Singhs that fought and died for Guru Gobind Singh Ji, fighting the army of Asir Khan. Up there we can see the great Mata Kaur Ji and her Vela, her great courage, who also suffered many wounds. You can see how the Singhs are refusing to give up. And they were given the blessing, the boon of the 40 liberated ones. Charlie Mukte, the 40 that were liberated as a result of their sacrifice, fighting the Mughals, standing like a wall to stop them from reaching Guru Gobind Singh Ji. But Guru Gobind Singh Ji shot many arrows sitting on a high mound, Tibba, and picked out all these Mughals one by one. And here you have the great Bhai Maha Singh Ji, who was the last of these martyrs, who requested Guru Gobind Singh Ji to rip the Bidava, the letter that was given to Guru Gobind Singh Ji to say, we no longer are your Sikhs, you no longer are our Guru, on behalf of the whole Mallha region. But that was ripped by Maha Singh Ji the Great. And these sculptures have had so much fine detail work done on them that I don't think any camera angle can possibly do justice to them. We can probably create a movie from different angles of these sculptures. They are that detailed and that great. Coming up to our next sculpture here from the history of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, we have the great Diwan, the great minister of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, whose name was Bhai Mati Das Ji. In Chandriyank in Delhi was a martyr who gave themselves, who stood tall and strong before the evil Mughal regime at that time. They were made to stand, and they were tied between two planks of wood, and their body was sawn in half. This great Sikh continued to recite the Japji Sahib. Even after their body split into two, the sound of the scripture Japji Sahib could be heard, resonating from both sides of the body. Such was the great power of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, and such was the great blessings of the Creator Akal Purkh Waheguru, who preserved the honor of his Sikhs so well that these feats could never be repeated ever again by any ordinary person. Going to another sculpture here in the time of history, where the evil Mughal Empire again, the end of it, more the time of Zakaria Khan, would have a price for the head of Sikhs. You can see here, this man is pouring down a whole pile of coins, and a reward was given. Currency was given as a reward to anybody who could bring back the head of a Sikh, dead or alive. They were given different bands of pay, and you can see here a pile of heads of Singhs, even to the extent where they started to kill Sikh girls, Sikh women, and started to say that these are the heads of male children, male Sikhs. That's the extent to which these people stopped killing Sikhs within the villages, and they wiped out so many villages of the pureness of the Khalsa, which is why the Singhs had to eventually go and stay within the jungles, within the deserts. Again, here another sculpture of Shaheed by Mani Singh Ji the Great, who was cut, sliced limb by limb, but refused to submit to the tyrants. all of the history, this great rich history we have, can be researched online and in many books worldwide. Here is the jang in Nirmogarh Sahib, and Bhai Kanhaiya Ji is feeding water to the injured soldiers, to the wounded soldiers. The real Red Cross is right here, Bhai Kanhaiya Ji. The real foundation of Red Cross is right here, Bhai Kanhaiya Ji. In the midst of war, in the midst of battle, where the Singhs are defending their forts from the Mughals, we have our side of compassion still kicking in. Bhai Kanhaiya Ji still offering his kindness and compassion here. So this place here, Mehdiana Sahib, is a historical place associated with Guru Gobind Singh Ji. From the journey commencing in Anandpur Sahib when they left the Kila, the fortress of Anandgarh Sahib, the journey all the way to Sabo Ki Talwandi, Damdama Sahib, the fifth Takht today. The whole journey is marked by many historical spots where Guru Gobind Singh Ji would have stopped on the way. And this is one of those spots, one of the historical places where Guru Gobind Singh Ji stopped and rested. History can be read once visiting this place in Punjab. The artwork is just absolutely incredible here. See here, welcoming you into the Gurdwara Sahib, two sculptures again, which is supposed to be up by Dharam Singh Ji and by Daya Singh Ji. Thank you all for listening. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.